Mehow. Could you please give a quick introduction for those who don't know? You had the pleasure of meeting you last week in Korea. Yep, doing one of these jazz. So some of the questions will be similar. Some of them will be new.
View on is still questions. Got it.
Check.
Sure. So I'm Mehow, I'm the CEO of MatterFi and American Fortress is an American privacy crypto wallet that magically computes all counterparty receive addresses instantly just based on your name. So if you register for a name, which by the way will be open for registration in the next 2 days, which is very exciting for us, you'll be able to like buy a name and then put it up on your Instagram and say use any Fortress named compatible wallet, which includes the MetaMask. That's coming to MetaMask. We'll obviously we have our own wallet called American Fortress and a bunch of partner wallets that are integrating this tech. And what happens is the counterparty wallets can automatically compute your receive address. It's the stealth address. Only you and the counterparty know what it is. This works on all chains and tokens. And when that happens, it's like cave how for all the crypto. You have to understand addresses, things that address places that custody is far improved. We have a hardware wallet. We have decentralized chat that's also fully encrypted, so it's like safer. And no one knows how much money you receive, so no more like people going like, "Oh yeah, where's balance, bro?" You get with Unstoppable and DNS and everything else. Friends, that type fraudulent network. You know, the favorite pass on the fraudulent network customers is to look up how much money moved today with the other fraudulent network customers because they're all trading houses, right? So that's the short answer on what we do.
I love it because it feels like one of the big, when we talked about some obstacles in the last chat with Toby, one of the big obstacles for adoption in crypto has been the addresses. You know, like you mentioned, address poisoning. That was a new vector of attack that just kind of popped up where, you know, they might do 50 million address poisoning transactions to get one victim, but it works.
But it absolutely works. And the reason it works, people are like relying on Etherscan to like grab this Will sent me money or I sent him money and I'm going to send him some back, right? So I'm just going to cut and paste. And it's a lookalike transaction with the beginning of the address and end the address that's the same.
Let's face it, people can be lazy. You know, it's easy just to click on Etherscan and copy an address and then hit send.
Yeah, but to me, it's completely bizarre. Because like I was just on a space yesterday and they were like, well, you know, Gate, I out there with the founder of Gate, one of the founders of Gate, or they had a product for Gate. And they were like, well, we just launched this professional DEX, right? And so now people can like, you know, put in 10K and then you go leverage like 100X and you like massively lose their shirt in an instant. And people are like, shouldn't we protect people from the professional DEX? I was like, you should protect people from the hackers first, because that's a way more massive problem. The problem of like crypto kidnapping I've encountered personally. I've encountered, we get our company, it has targeted scam attempts every day. Like every day, intelligent attackers are trying to get in, pretend they're other people, and like, you know, basically send us trailers. So it's and I think they may hate me a little more because I'm like very anti-hacky, right? I'm their enemy. I'm like, I will reduce the hacker revenue pretty severely with my platform. So, you know, they'd love to be like, oh, Mehow fell for a phishing scam. You know, the CEO of American Fortress.
He did not fall for a phishing scam.
I haven't yet, but you know, they're trying really hard.
There's nothing worse than seeing people fall victims to scams. You know, like every day on Twitter or wherever you see somebody that clicked the wrong link and their family's life savings are gone. You mentioned something really interesting. You know, we've had ENS and unstoppable domains for a while now. You know, and they've had pretty good adoption, but you can look up everybody's name. You know, you can go on Nansen or you can go on Etherscan and you can see somebody's entire balance, transaction history, etc. Wrench attacks are on the rise, unfortunately.
So for those of you that don't know what a wrench attack is, it comes from essentially a need. I used a $5 wrench to clobber someone over the head and steal their entire Bitcoin. It's up 50% this year, and I've been targeted personally. I can't talk about what happened yet at all, but this is a thing that is massively on the rise, and it's massively dangerous. And it's because, like, me, okay, if you use my wallet tech, right, no one may know your balance, which is awesome. obviously crypto founders, though, they're like, yay, use my wallet tech. Like the attackers are like, let's go get this guy. He just followed a Micah. And in this Micah, we know his token value. We know all the names of all the principals. We got a freaking filing. We know where he lives. I mean, so that's like actually a massive counterpoint to what's going on in this. Like the regulators are trying to be better, but they're actually giving the really dangerous attackers a mount. Like this TG is coming. It's going to be here, by this date because 20 days for Micah, right? 20 business days. So super dangerous, super uncool. But our tech will help you avoid that pretty freaking massive.
Peeling back the layers of the onion, or I guess peeking under the hood, how do you do it? It's doesn't seem like a very small feat to have private transactions like this that still operate on a public ledger. Can you give us a quick overview of how you made that happen?
Yeah, so it's if Vitalik was describing it, it would be universal stealth addresses for all chains and tokens that are dynamically computed by a one-way non-interactive cryptographic proof. So what does that mean? That means that the second I know a name, I have enough that metadata to be able to compute your receipt address, but only I know that address. And so the secret that reliably we rely on is obviously the private key. So we combine the sender's receiver's private key with the metadata, and then you get this infallibly correct address that both the sender and receiver can know, but no one else can know because you have to have the private key of either the sender or receiver. And that's how you have universal addresses for everybody, but you don't have a list of addresses. That is the way I described it. It sounds really simple. It's not simple, right? So there was a company called Stash Crypto, and there was a guy working there, Justice Ranveer, who invented paycodes for Bitcoin. So that essential core tech now adapted. So I bought that company and turned it into MatterFi. Justice and Chris Odom, which are my other co-founders, they work with me. And it took us 4 years to take it from what it was to what is now like a ready-to-release PayPal-like system that's fully decentralized once you get to me. Wait, it sounds like I got a question, but I want to talk about baggings for a second too, because there's something centralized about it. It's actually really good.
I was just going to ask, what chains are you working with currently? Because this is something that, other than like the privacy-focused blockchains, is something that, being exposed openly in the public is inherent to blockchain. So what chains do you work with right now?
EVM, so we're adding Solana. We already have Ethereum. We have ERC20. We have Dash, eCash, Litecoin, BTC, BCH. And all those will be coming out in the next few weeks. The first release is actually with the Litecoin Foundation. So the Lightbrief Foundation is going to be, and us, we're going to be releasing the wallet probably by Monday. It's like basically the final DD reviewed by them. And we found some bugs on the Litecoin testnet side. Not really bugs, they're features that we had to work around. So you have to make some changes too on our side to make the transaction super reliable in testnet. And yeah, but I think that we're going to love it. You can just download it, and then you can just, pick a name, and then beta, the names are completely free. And then you can, our faucet will give you some tested Litecoin. We can just sit there, start sending and using the decentralized encrypted chat as well. To your heart's content. If you like it, then you can go to our website and reserve a name for production time. And those will always be separate because we always want people to just try it out for free. But the names are like super reasonable. It's $10 a year for a .light name. And it makes all Litecoin transactions super private. But the other thing we're adding specifically, and this works on all chains and tokens, right? But the extra thing that Litecoin has that we're really bullish on Litecoin is MWeb. So MWeb has essentially balance blinding. So like the one thing in our system, like if you send to me or I send to you, I'll see the source address. I can't fix that. Like with our tech, without having some sort of DeFi or mixer or something else like running on that particular chain or changing the chain. And most people, like the way our algo works, like, you'll have many accounts with many balances that the ball is automatically tracking. And like if you're spending $1, you'll find the account that's got the dollar in it. But say you have one account somehow, right? You spent every other account, and that account's got 1,000 Bitcoin in it. You're trying to buy coffee with your Bitcoin. In that outlying case, the recipient of the coffee payment will see that, you spent from this unspent output that had way more Bitcoin. But that's not true in MLEF balance bonds, right? So you can still see where the money came from. Like it came from Joe Vigelu, right? And you have cryptographic proof of that. But you don't see the balance. So there's some chains that have this extra thing. So like 1 millimeters or like Ryan cries is like, if you combine balance binding with our tech, you have perfect privacy without actually having to have a mixer per se. And the other awesome thing about our tech is, even if you're mixing, you have cryptographic proof of where the funds came from, which is basically like the perfect solution.
You got the receipts.
Yeah, because so like if you're okay, I see these funds were mixed, it says the IRS. But I have cryptographic proof that regardless of how they got here, they came from you, and that was the amount and came from your private key. And that, you have to use ZK for that, but it's the one place where you use ZK. And this is all done with end-to-end cryptographic proofs between the counterparties. So there's no central record. But the counterparties can have way better KYC than in TradFi. So you can prove to me that you got the money from Rock, and then you sent it to me, and that's a cryptographic proof that you break it.
Have you all gotten any pushback on this from any of the organizations, we'll say?
No. Not, well, I mean, I don't know if we'll never get any pushback, but ultimately, our tech is just an address generator. And is the original Satoshi vision of like, hey, I want to send you some coins. So you're going to make a unique address that is just me, and you're going to send it to me on Signal, and I'm going to send you the money. And then you're going to track forever that address was me. And everything's going to be peachy keel. That was the original thing. That's how it was meant to work on day one of Bitcoin. But then people got lazy, and because they got lazy, they got robbed. And because they got lazy, they got fished. And now we have like essentially a rising crisis in the crypto industry of security, period, because there's no American fortress. But now there is, right? So all our system does compute addresses, and it gives the parties involved, who are those responsible for the reporting, like a perfect law. Just says, hey, Joe send me money, Rock send me money, Mehow send me money. And that's a cryptographic proof. It can't be messed with, right? You can't like launder it somehow and actually receive money from somebody else and say it came from me. Like that's not possible here.
Makes sense. So wrapping up, how do people get involved today? You mentioned that the sale is going live soon. What's the website? How can people get their name?
Yeah, so AmericanFortress.io is the website. You can sign up on the waiting list there. And then the name checkout will be live probably by Friday. The wallet will be live by Monday. And then there'll be a long sequence of very rapid releases coming out of wallets for other chains. The production wallets, the mobile wallets, the version that's coming out on Monday is a desktop version. And then we have a token launch in 3 weeks. And if you're an investor, we have a little left basically on the equity of the token side. The conferences last 2 weeks have been really good to us. We already raised $6 million. We got $2 million in revenue. And that nice happens. One allowed, one about to be allowed. So like they're actually getting granted, like our I2 stacks getting granted 1 million lines of original code. And I think it's just going to, like, the feedback I'm getting, like people that use the tech, they're just like, man, this is really cool. So I hope it saves a lot of people's money and makes crypto way easier to use, and ultimately saves some lives and saves some Wisconsin community.
Well, congrats on everything so far. I love what you're building, and I'm really happy to work with you. Thanks, Mehow.
So thanks, Joe. I appreciate you.